Hello. Welcome to a quick update video for Genji's flavor pack. So there's really nothing new in the amount of content from the last video, so I'm not going to go over all the same things that I did in the last video. But there's one new thing which I think is significant enough for a small video, and that is, as you can see, unit naming. So I would say most units, like 95+% of units, have native names. So here we have in the first category Akkadian names. So even though these units existed from before, they now have different names. So each language group essentially has a little different story of how they came to be. So for example, the Akkadian ones, I tried to figure out Akkadian on my own. Yay! Not an easy task for someone who doesn't speak a language even remotely related to a Semitic language. So, but I did my best when it comes to the Akkadians. Then when it came to the Hebrew names, I just thought, fuck it. So these are actually Google's work. Thank you to them. And then we have Greek here. And the Greek names are essentially too modern for this period. So if it was authentic Greek to the Mycenaean period, it would be in Mycenaean Greek, but these are not Mycenaean Greek names, but they're like classical or even newer, I suspect, in some cases. But eventually down the line, I might want to go to Mycenaean Greek by changing the different sounds and such. But for now, I settled on this, and the reason was that the material on making them into classical Greek was just way more abundant and easier to like access and such, compared to Mycenaean Greek, which would have required more work just to learn how to turn them into this. Then we have Greek names. So these are essentially to 99+% are actually Hori's work. So if you know the mod Renew Ma, they're essentially from there, but from what I understand, he got that content out of the mod. I'm not sure why, you have to ask him, but essentially, yeah, so these are not actually made by me, but by him. So please let him know if you like the Egyptian names, and go check out his work. Then here we have some, how do you say it, Tamazight names or Berber names. I used Google for this, and there's one really, in my opinion, good reason. So when I looked at all the different research on how would you, for example, make these names in Proto-Berber or whatever, I found so many diverging and contradictory research on it that I didn't really know how to make heads or tails of it. So like reconstructed proto-languages and such could, like, there were like material for Eastern Berber, then there was material for all the other strands of the language family, and everyone diverged slightly. So yeah, it became a little bit complicated to decide on what to settle on, especially since I could find vocabulary for, say, a sword in one group, but then a word for a spear in another group, and then since they were in different forms, I would have to like somehow transition them to the. Yeah, it was a mess. So I settled on modern Tamazight, I think. Yes. Then we have like Hittite names, so this applies to like basically all of Anatolia. So even though there's also Luvian being spoken there, so for I hope understandable reasons, I couldn't make every spoken language at the time available. And if, for example, someone wants Luvian names, I welcome you to go and make a Luvian submod if you feel like it, or say if you want Thracian names instead of Greek names or anything like that, or Elamite names instead of Akkadian for that faction. Yeah, you can go and make a submod for that if you so wish. Personally, I found it already challenging enough to just figure out all these languages represented here. So these are in Hittite. So essentially, yeah, so even like the old Chimeran are in in Hittite. So for example, here we have the. So these are essentially the historical Meshedi, even though the Axe unit was called Meshedi in vanilla. So these are actually those guys, but the historical Meshedi were a 12-person bodyguard unit, not this large. So I was pivoting between how to name them, so I settled on Sallimaresh or Shallimaresh, which essentially means great spears. Simply because these guys are a combat unit, not a bodyguard unit, and yeah, it it would have been a little bit, I don't know. Oh yeah, but anyways, I settled on great spears for these, and yeah, that's I think pretty much it for this video. So if you for some reason want to play my mod but you don't want these names, they're actually now a submod that I made, which turns the unit names back into English from the based on the last version where I still use the English names. So you can do that if you don't want these. But if you do want them, I hope you enjoy them. And thanks for watching, and see you later, alligators.